They've made a lot of progress in terms of trying to get a footing and a clear floor on their oil prices, but it's just such a nascent, such a fragile recovery. What do they need to do to convince you that more upside is in play?
I think that the fact that they are starting to ease production, that's been our view right from the start, that from August, we do expect OPEC Plus to start bringing back some production. I think that's a sign in itself because, as you said, they have been very cautious. They're trying to make sure that prices don't go down. They are seeing the demand recovery that we all are. Everybody agrees it's very early days. It's not going to be a straight line recovery with kind of resurgence in cases in the U.S. in particular. But stocks are drawing everywhere. I mean, the U.S. is going to be the last place to draw, but we are expecting draws tomorrow. But floating storage is pretty much all but gone. They can see that. So I think it is the right time to start increasing production, gradually, of course.
It's a very difficult balance to find, though, isn't it? I mean, how can you make sure that you don't ease too much in terms of getting oil back online?
Absolutely, very tricky balance. But if you look at where demand versus supply, the curves intersected sometime in late May, early June. And right now, demand is above supplies by anywhere between 3 to 4 million barrels per day because of the OPEC Plus cuts, but also because of U.S. production, which, yes, marginally coming back, but still most of it is, there are huge amounts of year-on-year losses there. More importantly, they might be, the headline figure that they're bringing back is 2 million barrels per day. But remember, with Iraq, Kazakhstan, Nigeria, Angola, all under-complying in May and June, these guys now need to over-comply to make up for the lost cuts. So the actual change and actual increase in production is closer to 1 million barrels per day. So that's why I think OPEC are comfortable. The market can absorb 1 million barrels per day of new production. It's not going to be 2 million barrels per day.
Amrita, you mentioned Iraq, and we understand the Saudis have been on the phone with some of the leaders there, and they've commended them for their compliance, which is a rare statement coming from the Saudis, given Iraq's recent track record of basically ignoring the quotas that were agreed on. Is that going to be sustainable? Do you see a more unified OPEC Plus at these deliberations at 1 p.m. in the afternoon tomorrow?
I completely think that's going to be the case. And I think one of the biggest achievements for OPEC Plus coming out of this is that unity. And again, Iraq, their revenues are still much, much lower than what they need to just even pay salaries. But you can see even with lower exports, because prices are higher, their overall revenues in June were substantially higher than April and May. So Saudi has been able to communicate to them that, look, if we are unified, if we are all in this together, overall that is a better outcome. And I think that's exactly why Abdulaziz did laud them for their efforts.
I want to get into some of your more specific calls because in your latest note, you make the argument that it is in Dubai time spreads where there is the biggest potential for upside. Run me through what's driving that thinking.
The biggest issue right now in the market is the lack of heavy crudes or sour crudes. You know, Venezuelan production is barely 300,000 to 400,000 barrels per day. Iraq, again, over-complying means there's a lack of heavy sour crudes in the market. This is a trend that was there pre-COVID. It's just getting more and more acute as we go forward. The new refining capacity is all geared towards processing from these kind of heavier crude barrels. And that's why Dubai is a heavy sour benchmark. But you know, one of the things I've also said is that Dubai, everybody is already long that contract. So I don't know how much more it can potentially go up. Whereas at least if the heavy sour complex is tight, it does provide a floor to Brent spreads as well. So in general, the oil market is being driven higher by the sour crude complex.